Okay, everyone and their grandma has an opinion on why Germany lost World War II. It was Hitler's bad decisions. It was the Eastern Front. It was the Americans showing up fashionably late like they always do. And yeah, sure, all of that stuff matters. But nobody talks about the real reason Germany lost the war. Logistics. What's logistics? I hear you asking, presumably while eating cereal in your underwear. Logistics is basically, can you get your stuff to your guys before your guys die? That's it. That's the whole thing. And Germany was catastrophically bad at it. Like, embarrassingly bad. Like, forgot to charge your phone before a road trip bad, except the road trip is invading the Soviet Union, and the phone is your entire army. Let's get into it. So here's something the History Channel will never tell you between their alien documentaries. Germany's army in World War II was not the sleek, mechanized, diesel-powered war machine that every movie makes it look like. The Wehrmacht, that's the German military for the uninitiated, used 2.75 million horses over the course of the war. 2.75 million horses. For comparison, Napoleon used horses. Napoleon! The guy who got beaten by snow and his own stomach. Meanwhile, everyone thinks Germany's rolling around in panzers and half-tracks looking cool. And yeah, some of them were, but the vast majority of German infantry divisions moving at horse speed, getting supplied at horse speed, eating horses when the horses died, which, spoiler, they did. A lot. Why does this matter? Because horses eat a lot. A horse needs roughly 20 pounds of feed per day. Germany had 750,000 horses just for Operation Barbarossa. The invasion of the Soviet Union, do the math, that's 7,500 tons of horse food per day. Just for the horses, just for the animals, before a single bullet or loaf of bread for an actual human soldier. Germany was running a logistical system held together with horse manure and wishful thinking, and they were about to drive it into Russia. What could go wrong? Alright, so if horses are bad, trains are good, right? Germany had trains, big trains, efficient German trains, right on time, nope. Here's the thing about invading the Soviet Union that nobody really thinks about. The Soviet Union uses a different rail gauge than the rest of Europe. The tracks are wider. So all of Germany's trains don't fit. They have to either convert the tracks, which takes forever, or transfer cargo between trains at the border, which is a logistical nightmare. So Germany's conquering hundreds of miles of territory, and every single ton of supplies has to get awkwardly shuffled from one train to another at the border, like some kind of bureaucratic relay race. While soldiers at the front are literally running out of ammunition and food, and it gets worse because the Soviets, as they retreated, destroyed their own railways, bridges, stations, the whole lot. So Germany's engineering corps, who was supposed to be, engineering, was spending all their time relaying railway track instead of building anything useful. By the time Germany reached Moscow in late 1941, their supply line stretched over 1,000 miles. 1,000 miles of converted or improvised railway pulled by horses in some sections, running through territory where partisans were actively blowing things up, and winter hadn't even started yet. So you might not know this, but the Soviet Union has a season called Rasputitsa, which translates beautifully to the quagmire season or sometimes mud season. It happens in spring and autumn when the frozen ground thaws and the entire country basically turns into a swamp. There are no paved roads, there are no good roads, there are barely roads, and Germany's trucks, the ones that weren't horse-drawn, sink into the mud up to their axles and die. German soldiers wrote home about this, letters home like, "Dear Mum, Russia has turned into soup, the trucks are gone, we are pushing artillery by hand, please send socks." German trucks weren't even standardized, by the way. This is another thing. Germany had over 100 different models of trucks in service, which means spare parts for one truck don't fit another truck. Maintaining this fleet was an absolute nightmare. The Soviets, meanwhile, were getting American trucks through Lend-Lease, simple, tough, standardized Ford and Studebaker trucks that could handle mud and cold. America sent the Soviet Union 400,000 trucks. 400,000! Stalin himself later said, and I'm paraphrasing slightly, without American trucks, we would have lost the war. America basically won the Eastern Front by sending trucks. That's wild. That's actually insane. Okay, so we've established Germany's army is mostly horses, running on incompatible trains through converted track and drowning in mud. Now let's talk about oil. Because Germany had basically none. Germany's entire war economy ran on synthetic fuel made from coal and captured oil from Romania. That's it! That's the supply, and it was never ever enough. This is why Hitler kept making strategically insane decisions that confused everyone at the time. Like in 1942, instead of pushing directly at Moscow, he split his forces and drove south toward the Caucasus oil fields, because Germany needed that oil or the tanks stop moving, period. Spoiler, they didn't get the oil fields. They got Stalingrad instead, which is where a significant chunk of the German army died and the whole war turned around. Every German tank, every aircraft, every motorized unit was constantly rationed on fuel. German pilots were given limited flight hours for training because they couldn't spare the fuel. German tank commanders were told to plan operations around fuel supplies rather than tactical objectives. The fuel was making strategic decisions, not the generals. Meanwhile, America is producing 6 billion barrels of oil a year. 6 billion? Germany was fighting a modern mechanized war while running on fumes, literally. Here's the kicker that ties it all together. Before Barbarossa, German logistical planners actually ran the numbers, and the numbers said we cannot sustain this operation beyond the initial advance. They knew! The planners literally wrote reports saying German supply lines could not support an extended campaign in the Soviet Union. The Wehrmacht's own quartermaster general said the operation was logistically impossible to sustain. And Hitler and the High Command said, yes, but what if we just win really fast, which is the military equivalent of what if we just didn't run out of money? The entire German war strategy in the East relied on the Soviet Union collapsing before Germany ran out of supplies, and the Soviet Union didn't collapse. It did absorb the punch, retreated, rebuilt, and then hit back harder, while Germany was standing there with empty fuel tanks, dead horses, and trucks stuck in mud. So yeah, Germany lost World War II because they were using horses in a mechanized war. Their trains didn't fit, their trucks weren't standardized. The mud ate their vehicles, they had no oil. And the one time they actually ran the math, they ignored it and invaded anyway. Hitler's bad strategy mattered. The Eastern Front mattered. The Americans showing up mattered. All of that's real. But underneath all of it, Germany was running a 19th century supply chain in a 20th century war against an enemy with essentially unlimited territory to retreat into and an American industrial base behind them sending trucks. Oil and food by the shipload. You can have the best soldiers in the world, you can have brilliant generals, you can have scary tanks with cool names. But if your horse is knee-deep in Soviet mud eating the last of the hay while your tanks run dry 800 miles from the nearest working railway, you lose every time. Anyway, like and subscribe or whatever, I'm gonna go lie down.